Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session at Microsoft Zero to Hero Microsoft Learn community. I'm so happy that I'm hosting another session at Microsoft Zero to Hero community, and it's really great to have you in this stage, and it's a great opportunity for us that we can share and learn together. So I don't want to spend too much of time because we have a great speaker today with us. And as usual, I'm going to share some slides, and after that, I will bring our speaker to the stage. So today we have Kasun with an interesting topic about DevOps and OIDC. So this is a great opportunity for you guys to learn more about DevOps and also some new things which is come to Azure DevOps connections. So stay tuned. And if you haven't connected to us in Microsoft Learning Rooms yet, aka.ms/join zero to hero, and use that link, fill it out the form, and join us. So with that said, Microsoft Learn community. How much do you know about that? So this is the great place that you can learn and share and be part of a big community of experts and learners. And it's a great opportunity to learn and share with the others. So Microsoft Learn community included all of learning rooms with different topics, categories, and it's a great and richest place that you can learn a lot from different people. And also you can help the knowledge circulation with sharing your knowledge. Why not? We are waiting for you for be part of this community. So if you want to learn more about Microsoft Learn, aka.ms/Microsoft Learn community is the link that you can use, and you can join and you can learn more about Microsoft Learn. As I've mentioned before, aka.ms/join zero to hero is the specific specific link for Microsoft community, Microsoft Zero to Hero community learning rooms. And we are waiting to see you there if you haven't joined yet. Also, as you know, we are in MS Build days. So if you haven't registered yet, make sure that you registered and join the sessions. It's a great days, basically, that you can be part of the community, learn more about the future services, technologies that we are going to receive from Microsoft and new updates. So make sure that you registered. And beside that, as you know, we have exclusive calendar for MS Build because we always thinking that we need to share more with our learners, and it's a great feeling for us to make this happen for all of your learners that are part of our community. So make sure that you registered, and not only online sessions, if you are able to join to the in-person sessions in Seattle, so it's a great opportunity. And if you can go there, you can get exam vouchers, free exam vouchers. And more to know, if you have good questions, please shout out, because if you give us good question in middle of the session, you will get 50% off voucher for Microsoft fundamental exams. And the last slides, we have code of conduct. So we expected you to be aware of others, be friendly and patient, be welcoming and respectful, be open to all questions and viewpoints, and also be understanding of differences, be kind and considerate to the others. So it's the time. Hello, Kasun. How are you, man? All good?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Hope you are
Yeah,
doing
great.
good.
It's really great to have you in this stage, man.
Yeah, me too. I'm so excited to be a part of that this session. So
Amazing, amazing.
yeah,
I'm really looking forward for this session because you are going to talk about one of the interesting topics that I love to hear about that.
yeah,
Amazing. What do you think about MS Build, Kasun?
yeah. So actually, this is a very interesting platform to anyone who like to learn new things and keep their knowledge up to date. So because there are a lot of tech innovation, tech new things are coming in the cloud industry, like especially in Azure and Microsoft technologies. So by participating to these kind of sessions, you can get to know more about those new things and people's experience and their knowledge. So it's a great platform for me
Yeah,
uh, learn new things. Yeah,
yeah,
and
it's really amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. Is there any specific topic that you are looking forward to learn more about that?
Yeah, I think we should. I'm more into like DevOps and side. So, for example, if we can have a lot of good sessions around containers, Kubernetes, Azure Kubernetes services, and DevOps pipeline, how to build Azure DevOps pipelines, those kind of things are also very important. And anything related to infrastructure as a code, it can be Azure Bicep or Terraform with Azure. Those things will be
Yeah,
very interesting topics. Yeah.
amazing, amazing. Perfect. Thank you so much, Kasun, again that you are in this stage. So you can take over the stage and we learn more.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. So, good afternoon or good morning from wherever you are coming from, joining to for us our session. So we are today. I'm going to uh, discuss about uh, very new implementation of Azure DevOps. We call Workload Identity Federation. So how we can implement Workload Identity Federation in Azure DevOps connections, so service connection. So we will take a look at why we have to use Azure DevOps uh, connection with federated identities, and we will see demos how do we can implement those things. Okay, so little about me. So I work as a senior consultant. I'm currently based in Netherlands, but I'm originally from Sri Lanka. So I have over 10 years of experience, and I'm a Microsoft MVP for Azure category as well. And I'm certified in multiple Azure certifications and Kubernetes and DevOps, and recently GitHub certifications as well. So you can connect with me through this LinkedIn URL, and you can uh, learn more about what I have doing, or what I'm sharing to my blog, kasunrajapakse.me. So you can subscribe and get new articles and those kind of things into your. Okay. So next we will see about the agenda. So we will first see, we'll get a high level overview of what is Azure DevOps service connections. Then we will go through how the service connections are working. Yeah. Then we will see what are the disadvantages of existing service connection method. Then we will look into how we can create more secure service connection to Azure with Workload Identity Federation. Then we will discuss how we can use it in Azure DevOps. Then we will do a demo how we can create it. Okay. So the first we'll take a look at what is Azure DevOps service connections. So Azure, if you are new to Azure DevOps, or if you have worked with Azure DevOps previously, uh, you may have encountered with this service connection, because Azure DevOps service connection is a way of authenticating your external services to Azure DevOps. For example, if you are running a pipeline to deploy application or deploy provisioning infrastructure into the Azure, then we need to authenticate with Azure platform. Then we need to create a service connection for that. So there are different type of service connections available in Azure DevOps. For example, if you want to connect to GitHub or Azure, then Docker, Sonar Cloud, and there are a lot of other connection types you can see Azure DevOps service connection. So depend on your scenario, depending on your need, you can connect to those. You can create those service connection for your use. So I can show you those service connection for you. So let's go into the Azure DevOps portal first. Then if you go to your project in Azure DevOps, then go to the project settings. Then if you go to the service connection section, you can find this service connection. In my scenario, I have already service connections. But if you want to create a new service connection, you can use this new service connection. Then you can see there are a lot of already built-in service connections are there. So you can pick one of these service connection as per your need. Then you can configure it to connect with Azure DevOps. Okay, now let's discuss how these service connections are working. So for example, let's assume that you are running a pipeline in Azure, then you need to connect those pipeline into the, so you're running a pipeline in Azure DevOps and you need to connect to Azure to deploy application, or if you want to deploy a infrastructure into the Azure, right? So the traditional method means the most common method that we did is to create a service connection in Azure DevOps. Then to authenticate with Azure, we need to create a service principal in Azure side, right? So I will show you that in a demo. So that service principal in Azure Active Directory act like a authentication platform to authenticate with Azure DevOps. So when you create a service service principal in Azure Active Directory, we need to create a secret. That secret will be added into Azure DevOps service connection, so that Azure DevOps service connection can authenticate with Azure, right? So that's the traditional, that means the way that we use to create connections in Azure DevOps, right? But there is a disadvantage in using this method, because we need to manage these secret time to time. That means usually we are not creating a long live secrets, like we will create like 1 year, the secret will expiration 1 year or 3 months or 6 months. Based on your requirement, you can create that Azure service principal secret, how long it should be validated, right? But it is too much hassle for us to manage this secret time to time, and it has a security risk as well. If the secret is exposed or committed into some repositories, it will be a security risk to expose um, hackers or application vulnerabilities. So these things are coming into the play. So when using service connections, first, when you are running into the pipeline, we have to give the service connection name to authenticate with Azure. Then what we'll do is pipeline will talk to Azure Active Directory. So then Active Directory will check the application service principal name and check the secret. And if everything is correct, it will grant access token to the pipeline. So then the pipeline will use this access token to talk to the Azure and deploy your application or provision your infrastructure. That is how it you done to the service principal. Okay. So I will show you how the service principal is created in Azure with the service connection is created with it to connect to Azure with using service principal names, right? So let's go into the Azure portal, sorry, Azure DevOps, and we'll see how we can do it. Okay. So now I'm in my project in Azure DevOps. So here you can see new service connection. Then I will select Azure Resource Manager. Then you have multiple options of creating a service connection, right? So if you are using service principal mechanism, then you can select, there are two options. One is automatic and manual method. So the difference between those two is if you are selecting automatic and if your Azure DevOps is configured with the Active Directory, organize Active Directory, it will go and automatically create a service principal for you. But most preferred way is used to manual method. So you can create a app service principal in Azure Active Directory and you can configure it in the Azure DevOps. So for simplicity, I will go with automatic method. Then it will check my subscriptions because I have can integrate Azure DevOps with Active Directory. So it will list down the subscriptions. Then I'm not going to give a resource group. So I will give a name to my service principal, service connection. Okay. Then I will click save. Then it will go and create a service connection for me. Okay. We will wait a little bit of time. It will take like 30 seconds to create this service connection. Okay, now it is already created. So if I go to the service connection and if I click manage service connection, service principal, it will open in the Azure Active Directory, right? Then you can see the how actual the service principal is created, right? So here, if you go to the secrets in the service principal, you can see that there's a secret is created, right? So this is the secret I have talked about you. So this is a very we need to, there's expiration date. So after expiration, you need to create a new one, and we need to manage this secret rotation, and we need to secure this one. So it is a little bit of security risk and cumbersome task to do it, right? Okay. So now next we'll see how we can avoid this secret management and secret creation through workload identity federation, right? So the workload identity federation actually is an open ID connect implementation for Azure DevOps. So these open ID connections will eliminate of managing the secrets for you in the service connection. It allows us to create a short-lived credential and short-lived authentication and credential-free authentication to Azure, right? So we don't need to manage any secret anymore if you are using workload identity with open ID connections, right? So if you see, this is the high level overview how the workload identity federation works. So if you similarly, these connections are usually, the service connections are usually work integrated with pipelines. So when we um, when we run the pipeline with workload identity connection, it will go to the application Azure Active Directory. It will go to the workload identity token generator, and it will generate a token. Then it will use that token to get a client association from Active Directory. Then it will verify the OIDC configuration with JWS tokens with the Open ID connection in Azure DevOps. Then after everything is validated, then we'll only get access token to the pipeline. Then your pipeline can access the Azure resources, right? So this is the very how this one is working in very detailed level. So the pipeline will go to vstoken.dev.azure.com. Then it will give you a identity token to the pipeline. Then the pipeline will contact enter ID, that means your Azure Active Directory with that identity token. Then Azure Active Directory will validate that identity token with vstoken.dev.azure.com. Then it will get a validity reply from OpenID Federation. Then if the validation is succeeded, then Azure enter ID will grant access token. That access token will be gone to the pipeline, right? Then pipeline will use this access token, and you can access the Azure, right? So that's the how the OpenID Federation works. So when you configure federation identity, there are few things you need to know. There are few words and things we have to know. These are the main three configurations we need to do when you are configuring OpenID federated identity with Azure DevOps connection. So first we need to know what is the issue URL. So I will show these things when I configured in Azure DevOps portal, right? So issue URL is the where your Open ID token issuer URL. So it will usually start with vstoken.dev.azure.com, then your organization ID, right? Then we need to know about subjects identifications. This is the way of mapping your service connection with your project. So if it is starting with like sc:// then your organization name, then the project name, and your service connection name. Then the audience, that means the audience that the token is released. So it always use API : Azure AD token exchange, right? So these three things we need to configure in federated identity in Azure DevOps connections. Okay, now let's see how we can configure Azure workload identities, right? There are three ways you can configure workload identities. One is automatic method and the manual method. And if you don't have access to create service principals in Azure Active Directory, then you can use managed identities as well to authenticate with Azure. So in a previous method that we discussed, that is service connection with service principal, we don't have option to use manage identities. It is very limited that use manage identities there, but here you can use manage identity with workload identities. Okay, now let's open up the Azure DevOps portal. Then we will see how we can create a workload identity federated service connection. Okay. And one thing I need to remind you that if you already have service connection without workload identities, you will get a notification like this: convert to existing Azure Resource Manager connections to workload identity federation. So you can learn about more in this link. And if you create existing service connection which are not using workload identities, there's an option to convert to the workload identity federation. So here you can see a convert button. When you click this convert button, these service connections will be converted to the workload identity federations. Now we'll create a new one with workload identity federation. So I have selected Azure Resource Manager in new service connection section. Then this is the recommended method. They are saying that you have to use automatic method. But the thing is, when you create this automatic method, the service principal creation of the service principal will be random one. That means it will get a very large name with your organization ID and project IDs. It is very easy to create, but when you're managing multiple workload identities for different projects, finding those service principals will be a little bit hard. So I always prefer the manual method, right? So, but for this demo, I will first show you the automatic method. So we'll go to the next. Then I will rename, give a name. Then I will save it. We'll wait for a moment till the service connections are creating. Then, yeah. So now I have my federated identity. So if you go to the manage service principal, it will open with Azure Active Directory and navigate you to the service principal that are associated with this service connection, right? So it will point you to the Azure Active Directory. Okay. So here you can see, if you go to the certificate and secrets, in the secrets, client secrets section, you cannot find anything because now we are using federated credentials. So if you go to the federated credentials, you can see there are credentials added. So for example, if I go to these credentials, you can see the federation credential scenarios. So it is using other, right? Other issuers. Then we have to specify the issuer name, issuer. So in the presentation, I have showed you the how we can identify the issuer. So you can get this default URL. This is a token issuer URL. Then your project ID. Sorry, not project ID, organization ID, right? Then you have the subject identifier. Here you have the organization, Azure DevOps organization. Then your project. Then you have your service principal, service connection name, right? So this is a random generated name, but if you are using manual method, you can create your own name here. Then you have a description here. So it is a automatic generated description. Then always your audience will be API // Azure ID token exchange, right? So that is how the federated credentials works, right? So you can see why I don't like this one very well, because this is very large, very complicated name. So it is very hard for us to manage. So that's why I always prefer the manual method. So when you're using manual method, you can give your own names for based on your requirements, right? Okay. Now let's see how we can do it on a manually. So if you have a scenario that you need to create a workload identity with manual, you can follow this method, right? So we'll go and create a new service connection. Then Azure Resource Manager is selected. Then on a manual workload identity federation manual section, I will select the workload identity federation manual. Then I will give a name for this one. Manual. Then I will click next. Then Azure DevOps will give you few informations you need, the information you need to populate into your Azure service principal name, right? So these things need to be copied, right? So first what I'll do is I will go into Azure DevOps, Azure portal. Then I will go to Active Directory. Then I will go to app registrations. Then I will go to new registration. Then I will put like federated manual to give a name for your application, SP service principal name. Then I will register this one. Okay. Okay. Then I will go to the certificate and secret section. Then under the federated credentials, select the federated credentials here. Then I will click add credentials. So then I will go to the select scenario. Then I will use other issuers. You can see there are other types also supported like Azure Key Vaults, GitHub Actions, and Kubernetes resources also support federated credentials. And to use OpenID, you have to use other issuers, right? So then we need to put issuer and subject identifier, and audience is already populated. If you don't you shouldn't change this one, right? So we will have these issue and subject identifier from um, service connection I have created in Azure DevOps. So I will copy these details, right? Then put it in here. Right. So then I will give a name. Okay. Then I will add it, right? Okay. Now we can test this one whether we can properly authenticate with Azure DevOps, right? For that, we need to include the service principal into my Azure DevOps Azure subscription. So what I'll do is I will go to the subscription section. Then I need to use RBACs to give that service principal a permission to access my subscription, right? So I will go to role-based access control. Then I will click add role assignment. Then for simplicity, I will select the contributor, right? But make sure you are providing the least privilege when you are working. So then I will select user group and service principal, right? Then select members. Then I will copy this name. Then select it. And I am assigning the contributor permission to that service principal, right? So it is, if you go to role assignments, you can see that is this one is added, right? So here you can see Federation manual, it is added there. So now what we can do is we can go to the Azure DevOps, right? Then in Azure DevOps also we need to give the subscription name that we are working on. So we'll provide these details as well for the service connection, right? Then subscription name. We'll copy the same thing again. Then we need to give a service principal ID, right? So that is that service principal ID can be found in the service principal. Then if you go to this object ID, application ID, let's see. Then you have to give the tenant ID as well. So you can find tenant ID in the same place, right? Then what you can do is you can verify it and save it. Yeah. If the authentication is completed, it will pass it and create the service connection. If the authentication has issues, the service connection creation will fail and show you what is the authentication error. Okay. Now I have a very simple pipeline, right? So I can use this service connection, right? So I will go to that simple pipeline. Then I will edit it. Then what I'll do is there's a task which are using Azure CLI. What we'll do is it'll list down all the virtual machines in my subscription. So it need a service connection, right? So under the Azure subscription, I will put my newly created service connection with federated identities. So when you add that one and validate it and save it. Okay. Now what we can do is we can run this and see whether the pipeline is giving the output, right? If the authentication is completely happening, then it will give you the list of virtual machines. So when you run the pipeline, if the pipeline doesn't have the permission to use that service connection, then it will ask for you to permit it. So you can permit that pipeline to use that service connection. Okay. So now we'll go to the job. Okay, we have to wait a little bit of time. I'm not sure why. Okay, it is running now. Okay. Okay, now it's running the scripts, right? Okay. So we'll wait a little bit of time because the logs need to be loaded. Okay. So if you go to the logs of this pipeline, this is the task I use Azure CLI to list down the VMs in my subscription, right? So if you go here, you can see federated tokens are used, right? So in the debug, and you can see the required federated tokens are used for authenticating, right? AC logins, we are using federated tokens, right? And you can see the service connection we have used on the debug as well, and you can see it is successfully authenticated the Azure CLI, the Azure task, CLI task with my subscription. Then it will list down all the VMs within my subscription. So we can see now we have properly authenticated and interact with the Azure resources. So you can use the similar kind of a scenario for your authentication as well within Azure DevOps. So yeah. So the last demo I'm going to show you is how to use managed identities with the same, right? With the federated identities. So assume that you are not authorized to create any service principals in Azure Active Directory, because most of the organization are not allowed to do that for specific scenarios, right? So in that kind of a situation, what you need to do is first you need to create a manage identity. So first we'll go to the Azure portal, right? Then let's go to manage identities. Then I will create a new one. Okay, I will select a subscription resource group. Then I will use a region. So we'll select the West Europe, right? Then I will give a name. Then click next and create a manage identity. It is, you don't have to do a lot of things, just create a manage identity first. Okay, we'll wait until the manage identity is creating, so it won't take that long to create a manage identity. Okay, sometimes taking some time to load. Okay, you can see the manage identity here. So what you have to do is after you create the manage identity, you have to repeat the same process we have done in service connection. So I'm not going to do that from again, right? But I will show you. So new connection, you need to go to the resource manager. Then you have to go with workload identity federation manual. Then you have to give a name like managed identity, right? Then click next. Then you will get the same and same details that you need to fill out. You need to provide it into the managed identity, right? So let's go to the managed identity. Here you can find the federated credentials. So there you can add the credential. So you will get the similar page that we done for the service principals. Then you need to put the issuer, then the subject identifier and the name, and you can add the service add this federated credential for these managed identities, right? I already have managed identity I have configured, so I will show you that one for you. So here, if I go to the federated credentials, then you will see those details are already added here, right? So what I'll do is I will use this manage identity to run the same pipeline, but in this occasion, we are using manage identity. But before I run the manage identities, you need to make sure that you have the right Azure permissions are assigned to that manage identity. So if you go to the Azure role assignments, you can see I added the this manage identity contributor permission. So this manage identity can do all of the things, most of the things within my subscription. So so that the service principle that are using this managed identity in Azure DevOps can use this managed identity to authenticate to Azure and uh, do the deployments and application deployments and infrastructure deployments, those things through this managed identity. So if I go to the my existing connections, so I have a service connection called Workload identity manage identity. So I will copy this service connection name. Then I will go back to that same pipeline. Then I will edit it and change the service connection, right? And we'll validate it and we'll save it. To verify that managed identity can authenticate with Azure, so we'll enable diagnostic, then we'll run it, and we can see from the pipeline whether we can list down all the VMs within my subscription using that managed identity permissions. Okay. Okay, now the pipeline is running. Right. Okay, now you can see the specific step the job is completed. Sorry, the task is completed. So here also, if you go, you can see it is using federated tokens, right? So that means we are using federated tokens for this authentication, right? Then you can see this task successfully authenticate with my Azure subscription. Then you can see at the end all the VMs that are in my subscription, right? So from there we can come to a conclusion that we are successfully authenticated with managed identities as well. Yes. Okay. So that's all the demos that I have today. So I'm highly encourage you guys to try out this workload identity option to create service connection in Azure DevOps, because it give you more like enhanced security for your secrets for your service connection, so you don't have to manage service principal secrets or secret rotation or secrets are you don't have to worry about exposing those secrets anymore with workload identities. So if you already have service principals with service secrets, you can easily convert it to workload identities. And if in future, if you are creating new service connections in Azure DevOps, I highly recommend to use workload identities rather than using secrets with service principal names, service principals, right? Yeah. So if you have any questions, you can ask from me. So you can put into the chat when yeah. So I will answer those.
Great. Thank you so much, Kasun. It was really great. And to be honest, personally, I love those kind of presentation full of demos because you can
Yeah.
really get into the details, and yeah, it's really good and really amazing that you have had a lot of demos to show us how we can use it, how we can leverage this kind of things in our environment.
Yeah.
Basically, we have a question from Miguel, and you can see it in the screen. But he said, "Great topic, great topic. Question: What are the command CLIs or PowerShell in order to authenticate this OIDC identity to be consumed using a self-host VM with a user assigned MI in Azure for DevOps pipeline?"
Um, I think we can because if you are using self-hosted agents, you need to install PowerShell modules or like Azure CLI into your self-hosted agent to authenticate with Azure. So if you have Azure CLI version or PowerShell module that is supporting OIDC identities, then you can authenticate with OIDC. To be honest, I didn't try out with self-hosted agent, so I, um, y- I when I show you the logs in the uh, my pipeline runs, you can see they are using Azure CLI and parameter for federated identities. So if the Azure CLI supported or PowerShell module supported for OIDC authentication, that can be done. But I didn't try it, to be honest. But it's a good,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, great. Uh,
Because when you like use authentication like AC login, there are different options you can use. Login options like you can use manage identities and those kind of things. So you can use that tokens already available in there.
yeah,
But I
great.
didn't try it for sure.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Miguel says, thanks. Great. Perfect. I'm not sure if there is more questions or not. So please let us know if you have any questions. And also, you can connect to Kasun in social media. So you can ask your questions. And yeah, you have one more slide.
Yeah, I have one more slide because I'm writing a book with one of my colleague Khan. So if you guys interested in infrastructure as a code and bicep, so you can pre-order this book, but it's still writing phase. But it will be available in the end of this year.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
It's really interesting topic for a book, infrastructure management with Azure Bicep.
So, yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to have it. Great job. Perfect. Seems we don't have more questions. So based on our role, the best question is from Miguel. So Miguel, please contact us. We have the fundamental exam, Microsoft fundamental exam voucher for you with 50% discount. So reach to us in Microsoft Zero to your LinkedIn page, and we will share the voucher with you. With that said, thank you again, Kasun, for this great presentation. So this presentation will be available in our YouTube channel immediately and also in our LinkedIn page. So yeah, that's all. Is there anything that you would like to add?
Yeah, I think the one thing I need to tell anyone working in IT, keep exploring, learn new things. So always be like always try to learn new things, new trends, uh, and it will help you in your journey in this world. So I'll encourage anyone to learn and to teach others as well, because it is very important we share our what we are learning. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I
Yeah.
have a slogan in my weblog, and I says never stop learning, and it's
Yeah, never
really
stop
important.
learning.
So it's really true.
Yeah.
So and also knowledge circulation, we have to keep it alive. So thank you again. You helped us a lot to keep that circulation of the knowledge alive in our learning room. One thing that I would like to mention, so today we realized that we reached to 2000 members inside our LinkedIn
Nice.
only. So with that calculation, now we have around 6,000 members across all platforms. So thank you again, everyone, that you are part of this great journey with us. So great. Thank you again. Have a great evening, morning, afternoon, night, in whenever around the world you are. So see you soon tomorrow with another session, which is going to be about AI. Don't miss that.
Okay.
Great. Have a good one. Bye.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.